Hi, I'm Samantha Waddell, and welcome to Beyond the Game. I am joined by Sugarland Lightning Sloths, Barrett Barnes. What has this season been like so far?
This season's been awesome. Being back home is always good. Being born and raised in Sugarland's a big plus to it all. But my team's great. My coaches and my manager are awesome. The environment's amazing. And it's just a good breath of fresh air being able to go back and play after everything that's happened.
And speaking of being home, what is it like to have your mom and your family at every single one of your games?
It gets overwhelming. The ticket pass list gets kind of long. But it's cool because I went really far for college and then all the way on the East Coast for pro ball. So to be able to come home and her to be able to drive 15 minutes to watch me play, I think it's a big deal for her.
You mentioned kind of a breath of fresh air, especially for this season. COVID happens, you kind of take a break, you're like, all right, so what are we doing with baseball? How did you end up with the Lightning Sloths this season?
Pete and Cavilla called me on a Tuesday in the middle of the day at like 11. And it was like, hey, you want to play? And I was like, play where? And he goes, we're going to start a league with Roger Clemens next week. And I was like, well, I'm really not doing anything, so sure. And then I packed up the beach house and left and came back home, and we were at the field the next week.
What is different between playing in this league and your minor league experience?
This is way more fun. The managers are super laid back. It's really a AAA atmosphere. Everyone's pretty much AA, AAA. There are some young kids in there mixed in, but it's an older environment, and so things are laid back. It's more like, hey, what do you need to do to be ready to play today? Well, then you do that. So it's super chill, it's really laid back, and I'm just having a ball.
During the season, you've also been going back to school. You went to Texas Tech. What has that been like, to having that degree, working towards that to almost complete it?
It's actually really easy. Way easier now than when I was 18. My time management's got to be 1,000 times better. I don't procrastinate nearly as bad. And with the days off during the week, it allows me to say, okay, I don't have a game Tuesday, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to take care of all my schoolwork. And then I don't have to wait till Friday night at 10:50 to start a project due at midnight. So it's been a really good breath of fresh air. It's something my mom has been pushing me for the last 6 years. So she's super excited that I'm almost done. And it feels good. It feels good to be moving towards another goal that's kind of been on the back burner for a little bit. And, you know, I'm just ready to finish in December.
Speaking of goals, I'm sure the big goal from a young age when you started playing baseball here in Sugarland and then going to Texas Tech was getting drafted. 45th overall. What was that experience like for you in the minors as a young kid and growing? I mean, you really grew up in minor league ball.
Yeah, it was difficult. It was very difficult. I wasn't particularly in an environment that I fit in and that I was suited to. And I think that hindered a lot of my growth. But I'm a big believer in faith, and God will never put you in a situation you can't handle. And I made my way through it. And I had my shot, and then I got hurt. And that's just part of the game. I had another shot last year, and then I got hurt again, and that's just part of the game. But I'm going to keep going until, you know, my body tells me enough's enough. And if I get that call out of the blue, then I'll be ready to go.
What is one thing that you would tell younger Barrett when he had just been drafted from now, of all the lessons you've learned? What's that one thing you would say, hey, take this, hold on to it, because it's going to help you get better?
I would say trust yourself and not the people around you. Because, and this is a conversation I had with your brother quite a lot, is whatever you did to get there was what they liked. And if there's someone that's going to come in and try to change that or alter your perception of yourself, they're probably not the right person to listen to. Your gut's very rarely going to lead you in the wrong direction. So I think if I could go back to 20-year-old me draft night, I would say, hey, do what you've been doing and don't change it for anybody and just let it play out under the lights.
Had COVID not happened, you were going to have a season no matter what. But with COVID happening and that kind of moment that you wonder, am I going to get to play baseball this year? Is that going to happen? Do you think that's made this season a little bit sweeter?
Yes and no. I was going to sign with the Padres, so that would have been better, obviously. But it's just one of those things where you just got to roll with the punches. You know, it's something my grandfather used to tell me. The wind blows and you don't know where it's coming from or where it's going, and it's just going to go. And it's one of those things, you just got to go with it. If they call us tomorrow and say the season's over, I had a blast. If we play all the way through, I'm going to have a blast. And if I play winter ball, I'll make that a blast. I'm just in the mindset now of whatever gets put in front of me, I'm just gonna embrace it and enjoy it. And if it's good, it's awesome. If it's bad, I'll find something good out of it. And that's just helped me so much with my like stress level and maturity and ability to take the punches and keep rolling. And I'm just really enjoying where I'm at right now.
What's been something that you wish fans knew about you and the league that you're playing in?
I wish I understood a little bit better what got us there. Everyone has a story. You know, everyone has something that happened or something that didn't happen. I know I hear a lot of times people be like, hey, run harder. But do you know I tore my hamstring 11 times? And they were all running out balls to first. Never stealing, never scoring, never sliding, never on defense, never first to third, always running first. So no, if you understood that or if you thought about it, you'd be like, yeah, I probably wouldn't always run 100% either down first. But you have to dig into people's background and understand why they are who they are and how they got to where they got to. But those are things that are tough. I mean, you're not going to really Google that. You know, when you Google somebody, they're going to give you their salary and their statistics.
And their stat line.
Yeah, and that has nothing to really do with that person.
So then when you walked in here, got out on the field, and it was like, hey, we're going to have fun. We're going to love the game, and we're going to get back to what you did basically when you were little, and every single day was the greatest thing in the world. Was that kind of what your escape was when you came here in 2018?
Yeah, it was just a breath of fresh air. I mean, not having 10 rules you had to worry about before you stepped in the locker room or out on the field was just refreshing. There were so many things that to me just weren't directed towards being successful on the field. I'm a big expression person, but I express like visually. So like I really like shoes, so I always want like really cool cleats. I change the laces on my cleats. I wear arm sleeves with family members' names or Bible verses, and they hated stuff like that. I hate shaving, so I don't shave. I hate getting haircuts, and they would get mad about that. I just rather play. But I rather play where I'm comfortable in my own skin and not worrying about things that just don't really pertain to me, I guess. And I think that was the best thing here is Pete was like, I don't care what you wear, just play. If you play good, what you wear is gonna look good because that's what people are gonna wear because they see you wear it and you're playing good. So he's like, I don't care. And it was just so refreshing. Like at first I went overboard with it because I hadn't been able to do it for 8 years.
Right.
And then I slowly kind of got back into like where I was in Lubbock. And that was just kind of my style and my personality. And it was just it was so fun. And that's probably why we won the championship. You know, it was a bunch of kids that hadn't been able to be kids. That hadn't been able to just play. And then they got to just play and you just kicked everyone's butt. And that's kind of how the Sloths are right now. We embraced it. Lightning Sloths is probably the worst name they could have possibly come up with.
I think it's fantastic.
We just embrace it. We got tank tops with sloths on trees and stuff and headbands with sloths hanging off limbs. And we're just embracing the heck out of it. And then it's just like, it's fun.
Right.
And if this game isn't fun, it's going to eat you alive because you're going to fail anyway. So at least fail with a smile on your face.
There you go.
It makes the sting a little less painful.